Okay, let's mosey on to Chapter 8, The Vigilante. As you fly to meet Jenny, your thoughts are consumed with Tarana Rain in your own younger years. It makes you remember why Jenny is not just your PFPP agent, she's also your best friend. Hold on, let me... Okay, check something real quick. I'm taking, like, short breaks between all these things and, like, closing the game. And so I do worry sometimes that OBS may or may not be capturing this. Anyway, when your life was turned upside down by your parents' imprisonment and you moved in with Grandma, you couldn't talk to any of your old friends. Going from your sheltered private school to the rougher public school is a big change, especially as you began to learn that there are all kinds of social complications of being powered. The anti-gang rivalries in the eastern fridges are just a tip of the iceberg when it comes to power politics. Entire textbooks have been written on the subject, so to say that powered kids are clicky would be an understatement. Upon arriving at your new school, there was one group that immediately tortured you the most: the normal, unpowered kids. Is that one I can, like, that one makes the most sense, I think. The powered kids were a minority at school to begin with, which meant that the majority of the school already hated you, since unpowered kids are notoriously wary of powered kids. Though the normal kids targeted you especially because if there's anything teenagers hate most, it's when they can't squeeze you into a specific group. And you had a lot of trouble finding a group, even though you tried to befriend I had my first upgrade with flying, so I'll say the other flyers. However, flyers hate energy wielders based on some, age-old feud dating back to the earliest powered individuals. Apparently the first flyer and the first energy wielder were mortal enemies. Ha. Since you have both flight and energy powers, you were seen as a particularly heinous gene hazard. No one wanted you in their group, and as a result of your solo status, you were hounded by just about everyone at school. You can imagine Tarana Rain at her fancy private powered school with trained social mediators and guidance counselors. You also bet she, with her elemental power set, must be one of the popular girls. She probably would have tortured you in high school. Though you'd know exactly what to do, because when you were at school, you handled the social politics by not letting anyone bully me. Ever. Despite hating you, everyone knew not to mess with you after you cracked a few of the bully's skulls. When your life was turned upside down by your parents' imprisonment, one of the only people you could trust was the PFPP agent assigned to your case, Jenny Yu. Even though Jenny doesn't have powers of her own, she loves powered hero stuff just as much as you do. So when you had no one else to talk to, you and Jenny would spend hours gushing about all of your favorite heroes, games, and comics. You're meeting Jenny at your favorite spot, the Vigilante, MC's largest comic/game/collectible store, which luckily happens to be open 24 hours. Occupying 4 stories, the Vigilante is practically a department store for all things hero related. You and Jenny always meet in one of the private gaming rooms, usually over your favorite virtuous reality games. "Sorry, Grimith, I'm afraid there's no time for fun today," she says, traces of her British accent still present despite years of living in Millennia City. Since she's such a geek, you tend to forget how pretty Jenny is. She's half Korean, half British. She always wears her hair in a tight ponytail and never applies a bit of makeup, causing her to appear sleek and no-nonsense at all times. Actually, you think Jenny is super hot. Sadly, she also happens to be super gay. "I hear you've been rather busy," Jenny says. "Too busy to return my calls, it seems." I know, but before you rip into me, you start, let me tell you my side of the story." 20 minutes later. Having heard every detail of your first harrowing night, so close to harrowing, Jenny pauses to mull it all over. "Well, you certainly dove head first into the deep end, didn't you? Ever heard of paying your dues, climbing the ladder? There's a reason people aren't supposed to skip steps, Mr. the Ineffable. You should have called for help. You should have—" "Jenny," you interrupt. "I get it. I took on too much too fast. Which is exactly why I went back to basics early tonight. I stopped the anti-gang rumble." "Well, that's certainly a smarter, though no less dangerous place to start," Jenny offers. "Still, you've dug yourself quite a hole here." "Yes, I did," you say, tired of mulling over the horrors of your situation. "So what are we going to do now to make it better?" I didn't know we had that much of a personal connection with our agent. Jenny, you otherwise, I might have called her instead of looking through the classifieds." "Oh well. Thanks, game." I suppose that's the spirit. Well, I'll start looking into Prodigal, though there's not much to go on. Black Kevlar bodysuits are pretty common purchases these days. I could look into her power set, but I bet she's unregistered. It's clear that she has some kind of mad-on for you, though. Perhaps you have your first genuine villain stalker? Yeah, right, you say, wishing you were enough of a somebody for that to be true. She probably saw that silly Hero Press post and wanted me out of her way. She's just another nobody trying to make a name for herself. Still, anything you can find would be helpful. I'm on it. Now, before we move on to the Splice Circle, I've got a bit of a briefing prepared for you, all of the basics on powered heroing, plus some gems of advice. Do you want to go over it now? Yes, I think I can use all the fucking help I can get. Good, Jenny says, looking down at her midship. Inspector Detector will forward you the folder. There's a PFPP handbook on heroing in there, but since you're maintaining a secret identity, you've already got most of it covered. The more interesting stuff involves some comprehensive information on powered history and science. Suddenly, Ginny's midship, Inspector Detector, a British man in a long trench coat, appears in your mind holding a folder. Midship J2 appears to take it from it, and as they begin to chat, you start to read the contents. Powered humans, a brief history. Fairly certain you already know most of this information, you begin to skim through the articles, catching glimpses of paragraphs here and there. Humans first began developing extraordinary talents in the late 21st century, all appearing in the same generation and spanning across the globe. On the heels of the Industrial Revolution, the millennial tech boom, and the energy regenesis, the powered renaissance has been marked as the next great step in human history. You stop reading, scrolling to another document. Had evolved beyond racism, sexism, and sexual orientationism, where these hot-button issues were quickly supplanted by genism. This first crop of powered individuals, powards, as they were soon dubbed, though less polite circles referred to them as gene hazards, were greatly shunned by the general public. So many of these international powered individuals fled to Millennia City, an emerging urban center on the American West Coast where they could be free to form their own community. Backed by the United States government, which realized that fast-acting acceptance and regulation of powered individuals could kickstart a resurgence in their declining prominence against the then-dominant world power, China. That's propaganda right there. China can never be a dominant world power. America! The American powered renaissance... Fucking start a political flame war in my comments. The American powered renaissance began, solidified by both the Powered Citizen Equality Act and the creation of the Department for the Regulation of Powered Resources. The world's first powered heroes began to flourish in America's Millennia City, sparking a cultural trend that would sweep the globe, though anti-powered regulations in China remain as tightly controlled as... You keep skimming, hoping to find some tidbit you don't know already. As it is widely known, the progress of the millennial tech boom curved off with the onset of the Third World War, which in turn sparked the perfection of nuclear technology that spawned the energy regenesis. Okay. At the unthinkable cost of losing a sizable portion of northern Russia in the fusion eclipse. Many scientists have posited that, in light of this massive world upheaval, human evolution took the next leap to satisfy society's inefficiencies. With technology now eliminating the need for many basic human functions, with the energy crisis seemingly solved, humanity was free to unlock further potential in their genomes and take on new abilities. The onset of powered abilities has sparked... I almost feel as if I'm really getting like a Shadowrun vibe to this. The onset of powered abilities has sparked, except for all the other things Shadowrun has that this game doesn't seem to have. Like dragons. The onset of powered abilities has sparked another period of rapid growth and change, unlocking potential... We see a fucking dragon. Unlocking potential previously thought unimaginable. With humans now regulating weather patterns, generating clean water, and building cities with their minds... The limits of progress seem to have once again been shattered. Just this week, NASA reported that they're prepping their first mission of powered astronauts capable of traveling through space at previously unrecorded speeds and distances. Others, most notably the growing cult movement called the Meek, possess a decidedly less positive outlook on the powered renaissance. Many see an upswing in violence, unrest, and conflict that will most assuredly lead to a fourth world war, especially as the eastern and western worlds seem deadlocked in a powered individual arms race. You stop reading, looking up at Ginny with an eye roll. Come on, I know my hearing history inside out and backward. Don't you have anything new for me? As a matter of fact, I do, Ginny says. I've got a special tip for you. Why can't you give me so many tips? Receive a fighting tip, receive a powered tip, or just say, fuck it. I'll take a fighting tip. Yeah. I'm a fighter. When fighting with your powers, the smartest thing you can do is consider the appropriate level of force. It's important not to use too much power, but equally important not to use too little. Assessing the appropriate level of power necessary for certain battles can mean the difference between life and death. You nod at Ginny, thinking that even though this seems like common sense, you never really thought about it in exactly those terms before. Even better, this knowledge increases the current ceiling for your power to 120. Huh. Well, how about that? Isn't my, health ceiling supposed to be at 110? Why is it at, 100 right now? It's at 100, isn't it? It is. Yeah. Also, the influence. I think that made me more offensive. Good. Good. That's what I wanted to be. An offensive man. Codename the Ineffable. Fuck your defense, clap, clap. You really couldn't fit in the other tip for me, though? Fucking bitch. Alright, so you started a fine mess at the Splice Circle, Jenny says. One of my contacts at the downtown precinct interrogated Tracker. Turns out Smither didn't just want the Gravitas to increase his offensive powers, he was also trying to expand into the ancient weapons business. He contracted Tracker to acquire the Gravitas and become the Splice Circle's newest general. Apparently Tracker already had his gene-deep penile enlargement scheduled. Okay. Had a moment there to suppress a return of my breakfast. Jenny lets out a giggle, but quickly pulls herself back to seriousness. There was some concern within the Splice Circle that the blatantly illegal nature of Smither's latest enterprise was too bold, so Madame Weiss began placing her ducks in a row for a coup, a move she had been waiting to make since Smither dumped her. Then Prodigal showed up, you fill in. Taking out Smither and giving Madame Weiss the chance she needed to make her move. Oh. Maybe I could have made friends with her, right? Ah, damn. Figures she lived. Of course. That's been mentioned in an earlier chapter, too. Right you are. Here's the latest intel on the Splice Circle operation, Jenny says, sending another Inspector Detector me message, this time displaying the organizational Splice Circle chart you pulled up earlier. Well, we took a look at business generals earlier. How about taking a look at crime generals? They are pretty much dead. Nah, let's just let Jenny fill me in. I don't really. Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Just let Jenny fill me in. Our intel isn't perfect, but as far as we can tell, as soon as Smither went down, Madame Weiss made her move. She had already recruited the female-centered generals, Wanda W. and Lolly, bringing the club, sin-den, and prostitution ring together. However, the former underboss Casing made a play for his rightful ascension just as fast. But Madame Weiss moved faster, since Casing's body washed up on the docks this morning. Looks like someone's been rather busy, you say, thinking that all you've done in the past couple of weeks was stop an anti-gang rumble. Madame Weiss has already seized control of the circle and started restructuring, but there was a hiccup with Kirkpatrick. Jenny starts. Do you remember who Static was? Yes, you don't need to remind me. I do recall that he hasn't been seen, or she hasn't been seen from him for quite some time. Well, it turns out he hasn't been heard from because he abandoned the Cape route and went undercover. Static was Kirkpatrick, Jenny says almost proudly. Turns out he has the power to avoid all forms of mind control. That's a fucking awesome power! I want that power! Damn it! Fuck, that's a useful power. Fuck. Making him the perfect mold against hypno-powered like Smither and Madame Weiss. When Smither went down, Kirkpatrick panicked and got trigger-happy. No one knows exactly how, but Madame Weiss found him out and he's been missing ever since. Any hunches, you ask? Not wanting to think about what's probably happening to Static/Kirkpatrick right now. Apparently, Kirkpatrick had been collecting evidence against the Splice Circle for months, waiting for the right time to strike. The police think Madame Weiss has taken him hostage, trying to find a location of his evidence stockpile. She needs to get her hands on it for the new and improved Splice Circle to survive, not to mention to cement her boss status. Jenny then looks at you, growing serious. Here's the thing. Only the NCPD and Madame Weiss know about this evidence, which gives you a unique opportunity here. If you find that stockpile, it'll help the police take down both Weiss and Splice. Ooh. I don't think I have to tell you what will happen if the Splice Circle destroys that evidence and finishes restructuring. I'll be at the top of their target list, you say. But so will Prodigal, Jenny says. The Splice Circle probably already has information on her that we don't, so taking them out may also help lead you to her. So if I find that evidence stockpile, I give the police exactly what they need to arrest the Splice Circle, their weakest juncture. In the process, I also clear my name and salvage my reputation as a hero, and as a bonus, I might learn something about this Prodigal lady. This seems like a no-brainer. Precisely, Jenny says, smirking. So what the slug are you waiting for? I'm not waiting for anything. This is a second chance to get things right after that terrible first night. Best of all, if you are successful in shutting down the Splice Circle and saving Static, you'll surely be seen as the next champion of the Fringes, an excellent place to continue your climb to fame. Yeah, but, Ginny, how am I going to find the evidence faster than the police, Madame Vice, or some other meddling hero? You ask. I'm not a detective. That was a lucky break with Tracker's fingertips. Well, you better start getting used to some intrigue solving, oh mighty the ineffable, Ginny proclaims. Besides, you were in Smyther's headquarters and you confronted Madame Vice, so I'm betting you saw and heard things in there that might help you, even if you don't know what they are yet. The real question is, Ginny says with a wink, when are you going to start? Next chapter apparently involves case magic. Well, certainly been a thing. Not too terribly exciting. Not an explicitly eventful session, but, the chapter, rather. But they can't all be intense, right? Gotta appreciate these peaceful moments that we have together with Jenny. I'm gonna go shoot my face now.